before I can put them in the pan, I have to let the pan get nice and hot. I have to let the pan get nice and hot, then I'll put some oil in there, and then I have to let the oil get nice and hot, because I don't want any of this sticking to the pan. So I gotta let the pan get to the right temperature where it's gonna cook it, but it's not gonna burn it. Put my hand here, not putting my hand on the stove, but I'm putting it above the stove. I can feel the heat rising off the pan. And it's not quite warm enough yet, so I'll give it a little more time. While we're waiting, maybe I'll break apart some of these florets. Make these nice little small florets. Cute miniature little broccoli florets. So adorable. One by one, just picking them apart. And maybe I'll take another quick look at the quinoa on the stove. It's cooking. You can see the steam rising up. So it's still simmering away there. This pan is starting to feel a little hotter. I'll pour a little oil in. Get it nice and greased. Okay. I'm just gonna wait for that. You have to make sure that the oil gets all around the surface of the pan. Make sure that nothing sticks, right? Okay. So if you've watched a Meal Prep Monday before, you'll know that a good test to see whether the pan is ready to go is if you take just a little bit of water and put it in the pan. If it starts to sizzle, that means that that pan is hot. The oil is ready to go. Let's try it out. So I put just a little bit of water on my fingers. And then, what's that I hear? Sounds like that pan is ready to cook. So now I'm just going to start taking handfuls of broccoli florets and putting them in there. You can hear that oil starting to sizzle. Right? Everything's getting very active. The particles are moving around, cooking everything together. Next come the peppers. Just great handfuls of diced peppers going in the pan. Hope this pan is big enough. Everything that I'm going to be cooking in there. Although as this combination of diced bell peppers and broccoli are in, or as this is in the pan, it's going to start to cook down because the water is going to evaporate out and the vegetables are going to get kind of smaller. So it's going to create more space in the pan. It looks very full right now, but it's all going to cook down. So while it's doing that, I will wash my hands because that is so important. And I want to cook this broccoli for about 4 minutes. So I check over here, and I think when that timer for how long we've been streaming gets up to 28 minutes, I will know that it's time to move on to the next step. But I'll take a little wooden spoon here, and I'm going to move everything around. Make sure that everything gets onto the pan. Okay. Another really good thing to do at every step of the way is to get some salt and some pepper. Right? Get it nice and seasoned. So put some salt in there. Going to activate some flavors. Put some pepper in there. And stir it around a little bit more. We'll turn on the fan. So you can start to see there's now more of the steam and smoke rising off the stove. The green of the broccoli is becoming more and more green. It's a deeper, deeper green. The reds and yellows of the peppers are getting fuller as well. This is all cooking. On the stove. see how much time we have. Looks as though we've got about 2 more minutes that we'll let this cook together. And you can probably see as you're watching, right? This high mountain of multicolored vegetables is starting to get smaller and smaller as we stir it around because the vegetables are cooking down. They're getting reduced by the heat of the pan, right? So it's creating more space for the tofu that I'm about to put in there in about 1 more minute. So we'll keep stirring this around. Good. As I'm pushing it around, I'm seeing that nothing is sticking to the pan, which is a good sign. It means that I was able to get the right temperature going before I put anything on there. It's starting to smell really good. It's creating a little more space. The vegetables are getting a little more tender. Everything's getting a little shinier because of the oil that's cooking around it. So you get this ready to go here. I'm creating a little space in the middle of the pan, into which I'm going to put the tofu. So I'm making like a little ring of vegetables around the sides. And there's a little hole in the middle, and into that hole, I am going to put this tofu. So in it goes. All those cubes of tofu, we thought about counting them, or estimating how many there were, but we wanted to keep moving right along. So those go all in there. And we're going to cook that for another 4 minutes. So when that timer gets to be about 32 minutes, we'll know that it's ready for the next step. The next step is going to be to take this sauce that we made with the 6 cloves of garlic and the ginger, a little more than 4 teaspoons, and all the rice vinegar and the hoisin sauce and the stock and the soy sauce that's all mixed together. We're going to pour this over the tofu and the vegetables. And it's going to fall through all these vegetables and tofu and cook in lots of flavor and sear in there. It's going to taste really good. In the meantime, now I'll start mixing the vegetables and the tofu together. Just keep everything moving because I don't want anything to stick to the pan. I want the heat to spread all around. We'll get the flavors in there. Okay. It's pretty simple so far. So while we're doing that, maybe I will move some more things out of the way so we don't make a mess. A nice clean view in the kitchen. Putting things away. And how much time do we have? We have still a little less than 2 minutes before it's going to be time to put this sauce into that pan. So 1.5 more minutes. I'll just keep stirring things around. The tofu is starting to change color. It's going from the white color to a nice seared in golden brown. Right? It's picking up some of the heat from the pan. It's picking up some of the flavor of the vegetables. Everything's stirring around. I want to make sure nothing sticks to the pan. We're starting to get a little bit of sticking going on in the middle there. So we move it all around. Keep mixing things together. Keep mixing things together. So some of this tofu is really well cooked. Other bits of tofu, other little cubes, are barely getting any heat at all, so that means that I need to do a better job of mixing everything together. And now that it is about 32 minutes, give it a little bit more time to get ready to go here. It's almost time to pour the sauce into the pan. I'll do a quick check on my quinoa. I want to make sure that that is cooking still. Good. Still just a little more water that needs to evaporate off. Perhaps you can see all the steam rising out. Okay. Good texture. But there's still some water in there. This is going to be just about perfect timing. In goes the sauce. Let's do it. I'll take this big bowl of sauce and very, very carefully I'm going to pour it over the tofu and vegetables. So there it is. There it goes. Put all the rest of that stuff in there. Now, if you're listening carefully, it may be hard to hear over the sound of the fan, but all of a sudden, it got really quiet in the pan. Watch this. We don't hear as much of that sizzling anymore. What's changed? All the liquid from the sauce that I put in the pan, now it needs to heat up. It's taking up some of that energy, right? The surface of the pan is a little less active, okay? I'm trying to bring it to a simmer here. So I'm going to stir it around. The tofu is starting to soak up the sauce. So is the broccoli. And I think the other thing I may just turn up the heat just a little bit, just to make up for lost time. And I will know that this is all set when I start to hear those bubbles again, that simmering sound. So I'm letting everything get soaked in the sauce, letting everything get a little hotter, letting everything get a little bit more cooked through. While we're waiting on that, I'm going to mix up some cornstarch, just 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, okay, and some water. So 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, 1, 2, and 4 tablespoons of water. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So I've got this mixture of cornstarch and water. And what I'm going to do with the cornstarch and the water is put it into the pan, and that's going to thicken up the sauce. Something about the way cornstarch works. You can kind of see it, or you could feel it if you had your hand on the spoon. But the cornstarch, it's almost like a glue, the way it gets in the water. If that hoisin sauce we said was viscous, this is extremely viscous. And the idea is that I'm going to take this viscous mixture, and I'm going to put it into the sauce that's in the pan that's already starting to simmer, and it's going to make everything thicker and gooier. All right, have a lot of flavor. Let's try it. So what I'll do first is create a little, almost like a little hole in the middle. A little space into which I can put that cornstarch and water. And there it goes. Let's put all the cornstarch in there. And I got stirred around. And sure enough, it's changing color a little bit. So it's getting a little thicker. Right? The cornstarch is mixing in there. The sauce is getting a little more viscous. So that's some more cornstarch I can put in there. Almost like a glue. It's making it nice and thick and gooey, and holding everything together. And now what I'm going to do is give that some time to get nice and thick, to heat all together. I may even turn down the heat just a little bit. I want to boil off some of the water. I want to give the cornstarch more of a chance to mix in with the rest of the sauce. I want to simmer in those flavors. Okay. And I'll know this is done when the sauce is really thick and it's covering over the vegetables. Everything's cooked down together.